Japanorama.
Japanorama. Super lucky. Konnichiwa and welcome to Japanorama. And as you're probably aware, Japanese women are no longer the shy and subservient little chrysanthemums of archaic legend. But that's not the half of it. Over the last 10 years or so, these delicate hothouse flowers have burst out of their bulb skins with methodical precision, while becoming obsessed with every new micro-trend to come along, no matter how daft. And these young Japanese females are now known as...
Gyaru!
Which means?
It's complicated.
That's right. Bad girls. Toot toot, beep hey. That's what I'm talking about. The world is watching young Japanese women and it's taking notes. When it comes to fashion, music, or just how we live our day-to-day lives, the Gyaru has become the style setter du jour. Although it's only recently that the Gyaru have become a visible presence on the streets of Japan, the bad girl as Japanese archetype have been around for years. If there's one overriding lesson to be gleaned from history, it's this. Different times call for different makeup. For centuries, the feminine ideal was an expressionist face with a porcelain complexion. And so in Japan, where they never do things by halves, the white-faced geisha became the epitome of all good womanly things. And thus it remained until the 1930s, when Abe Sada, a prostitute turned maid, ascended to tabloid nirvana by strangling her rich married employer with a kimono sash after a marathon of inventive, obsessive sex. In a somewhat misguided attempt to control her own romantic fate, Abe chopped off her lover's genitals, wrapped them up and carried them away like a sausage. Abe Sada may have represented an alarming new female archetype, but her particular brand of militant feminism had yet to catch on nationwide. And then came the modern age, which in Japan started right after the war. Scrambling for survival in a devastated and occupied land, Japanese men no longer had the luxury of swaddling their women in a cosy kimono of innocence and naivete. But in just a few short decades, the economy came roaring back, and Japanese women were free to get back where they belonged, serving tea, smiling and pleasing the menfolk. But for some reason, that didn't seem to satisfy them anymore. Which leads us to the current generation. About 10 years ago, a revolution occurred here on the streets of Japan. Young women stopped whiting up and started blacking up. In the mid-1990s, a new style icon appeared on the streets of Tokyo that knocked that schoolgirl look right out of the playground. After seeing TV shows like Baywatch, Japanese girls became obsessed with Californian girls, with their bleached blonde hair and immaculate tans. And so, in typically inventive fashion, they modified the look with colourful clothes and clumpy boots. They were called kogals. A hot new magazine called Egg celebrated the kogal, offering useful tips on how to give blowjobs or how to have sex in a kimono. This look was taken one stage further by a certain element of kogals who wanted even darker skin. They were called ganguro, or black-faced girls. In such a homogeneous pale-faced society, this radically different skin tone set them way apart. Ganguro became synonymous with rebellious teenagers, runaways and girls bunking off school. They got a reputation as bad girls living outside society, a reputation they nurtured by not washing and by shagging men. It didn't take long for the girls to go a tan too far, creating an extreme look called yamanba, derived from the term for mountain hag. Now, you might be wondering why anyone will be going for the mountain hag look. I certainly did, so I invited Pinky and Yucatan down to my Tokyo house. Come on. Hajimashite, dozo yoroshiku.
Nice to meet you.
Tell me about the look. What is the makeup you wear? Is it normal makeup or do you have special makeup?
I just get it from the local chemist.
Oh, really? Who inspires the look? Is it based on one person, or is it meant to be from one country, or is it just a fashion style?
The old school Yamamba. They used to be around before. We copy their makeup.
And do you know who they were copying?
Adamo-chan.
Adamo-chan was a character created by TV comedian Toshiro Shimazaki in 1985. His somewhat broad depiction of an Aboriginal made Adamo-chan a household name. So when the Ganguro first appeared about 10 years later, many thought it was simply an homage to this beloved comic creation. Hey, what do you have in your bags, girls?
There's just makeup in here.
An album.
Okay. Oh, photo album. Can I? Wow. These are, what do they call these? This is from the photo booth, isn't it? Anyway, Nanta desu ka?
Print club.
Print club. Print club. Is this you?
That's me before.
Oh, wow, that's great. Kawaii. Arigatou gozaimashita. Okay. Well, I'm none the wiser, but thank you very much for spending time. I think you look fantastic. I love this look. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you, thank you. The Gyaru Mecca for all Japan is Tokyo's Shibuya district. Here, each successive sub-movement of the Gyaru has been spawned. Girls from all over Japan come here to sniff out the latest trends. They come to places like the 109 building, with its floor after floor of boutiques catering only to young women to buy their way into Gyaru-dom. And Kogols of the future can come here to get a taste of the Gyaru life. And as the image of the Ganguro has softened and gained acceptance in recent years, many of them are eager to meet the Ganguro in their native habitat.
The girls 10 years ago were real bad girls, so people have those prejudices about girls these days too. They think we must be the same. People call me a freak and things like that.
At first, I didn't have a very good impression of them, but when I met them, I found that they were really nice.
And now any young girl with a yearning for independence can sign up for a Ganguro tour of Tokyo. For £20 you can, for one day only, become a Ganguro.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Off they go to a specialist shop to pick their own Ganguro outfits, the beginning of the reinvention process. For some girls, this newfound liberation can be quite daunting.
I'm so embarrassed. I'm still quite embarrassed.
It's the first time I've worn a skirt this short.
I think she'll get used to it.
But with a helping hand from real-life Ganguro, our novices part with their cash and head off to Ganguro HQ for their indoctrination into Ganguro life.
They look like girls. They've got the right bright colors on. When they get the makeup on, they'll be perfect.
They get down to the real Ganguro transformation, the makeup.
Okay, let's start putting on the makeup.
And here we have it, 10 new Ganguro apostles ready to hit the streets.
I look great! I'm really happy!
I look like a panda.
They take their new looks out for a test drive on the streets of Tokyo.
I'm really embarrassed. Really embarrassed.
And finish up their day with a group photo, a memory of being a bad girl for one day only. Japanorama! Just as Gyaru fashion has swept Japan, so has the dance of the Gyaru, para para. And para para just might become the first Japanese dance craze to sweep the world.
days it was a girl dance, but now that girls have grown up, so it's a dance for everyone.
Though the moves are complex and song-specific, the concept, as demonstrated in many top-selling instructional DVDs, is simple. Hyperactive European techno music, predetermined arm movements and minimal leg action. And how's this for a too convenient metaphor for modern life? Though Power Power must be performed by a group, everybody dances alone.
We can all have fun dancing the Pala Pala together.
Huge Power Power events like this one, sponsored by the Bad Girls Bible, Egg magazine, evoke an almost Nurembergian spectacle of synchronized motion. A spectacle so exciting, it makes even pounding, brain-dead European techno look good. I'm here with one of the most famous practitioners of Power Power in all Japan, Ken-san. Ken?
Hi, England. This is Ken.
Tell me, how do you come to be dressed as a schoolgirl and become such a leading exponent of Para Para?
I find these girls interesting, like you do. I thought it would be fun, and especially not to do it as myself, but as one of them.
I believe you had a chart hit in Japan.
My first single sold 150,000 copies.
No way.
It is.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, all from doing the Para Para?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, there's money in them there Para Paras. Ken, a noted television comedian, released a remixed version of the Romanian band Ozone smash hit Dragostea din Tai. In the video, schoolgirl Ken has a crush on her teacher. And if that teacher looks a bit familiar, well, here's a hint. It's Ken. The Japanese public, always on the lookout for the next strange thing, lapped up the image of an Adam's apple-owning schoolgirl grabbing gold in the Power Power Olympics. Do you enjoy doing Para Power? What attracted you in the first place to it?
In Japan, there are bonodori and abodori. These are Japanese dances where we all do the same dance. This is very Japanese. We all love to show off, but not on our own, so we show off together.
Yeah, I don't like to dance with someone like this, because I feel embarrassing, but dancing side by side, that's okay, isn't it? That's pretty...
Right.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes, a bit like line dancing in the US.
Line dancing.
You know that?
Yeah, but that's
like
silly.
That thing.
Yeah, but you got to wear cowboy boots and a hat, and that's this is the schoolgirl uniform's much more comfortable.
Right.
I find. How easy was it to learn the Power Para routines?
It was hard at first, but after a while you realize the pattern. Then it becomes easier.
I'm hoping to learn some myself over here. Perhaps you would teach me some later on.
Sure, why not?
Do I have to wear the outfit, or will I be okay in a suit?
Like this. Okay, no problem.
Okay, good.
You want to?
Well, I quite like the idea, you know. I don't know if you got one with you for me. Well, listen, why don't we get together on this? Why don't I bring you over to the UK? You come over, we'll hang out together, we'll learn a few new moves, we'll bust a few new moves. That's what we'll do. We'll see if we can kickstart the whole Power Power UK. What do you think?
Okay, no, I mean, good idea.
Okay, give me 5.
Sure.
Okay.
Great.
I think. Now it's time for Madame Shiroto and a motley mob of moppets with the Gyaru and the Countess.
In Japan, 14th of February is Valentine's Day, and on this day, women give chocolates to men they fancy. A month later, on the 14th of March, which is called White Day, the men give presents to women.
You know, Otaku Boy, when I think about bad girl films, I think about the way I think about cream cakes or kittens or little baby chimpanzees. They are impossible not to fall in love with. And even when you think about the words, Japanese bad girl films, there's not one word there you can't love. Yeah. So doesn't it? When you add it up, there were a blooming plethora of classic cinematic bad girls. There's your super swordy samurai, your stabby schoolgirl, and then, of course, there's this needly lady. But of all Japan's cinematic bad girls, by far the most potent combination of lethal and alluring, toxic and tantalizing, deadly and doll-faced is Reiko Ike. Reiko Ike's career began in 1971 as a delightfully underdressed pop singer. Her one album consists mainly of erotic moaning over classy lounge music. But destiny called. It was time to start moaning for the cameras. And so it was lights, camera, action. Reiko was at her best, playing a wronged woman, taking vengeance on her oppressors. That would be naked vengeance, of course. Here, the venomous vixen anoints herself with poisonous oil, thus contriving a delicious way to die.
Iwakura-san, ii aji desho?
I should, Coco. And here, accused of hiding cards up her sleeve, Reiko proves her innocence, the only way she can. She then extracts a painful apology from the scoundrel who accused her. Reiko, the ultimate cult queen, even co-starred with Japan's baddest male icon, Sonny Chiba, in the Street Fighter's Last Revenge. The sussed-up Street Fighter knows that Reiko's trouble, but he can't resist her charms. In just a few feverishly productive years, Reiko Ike smashed onto the screen, took care of business, and then suddenly disappeared, leaving us wanting more. We may never again see the likes of Reiko Ike, but there are some new bad girls out there giving it a go. In Kamikaze Girls, a demure Lolita goth meets a Gyaru antithesis, a gruff biker girl known as a Yankee. The biker is played by a half-Japanese, half-Russian-American named Anna Tsuchiya, one of Japan's hottest young multi-talents.
Girls now are pretty individual. We've got the Gyaru and girls who do some strange things.
Besides also dubbing Lindsay Lohan's character for the Japanese release of Herbie Fully Loaded, Anna Tsuchiya is a singer-songwriter of near-pop idol status. Anna's look, her sound and her lyrics, belted out in English, are thoroughly transnational. These tracks could have originated anywhere, from Shibuya to Shoreditch to the Sunset Strip. Anna's latest film is an Edo period drama called Sakuran, which means cherry blossoms. Based on a manga, it's set in Yoshiwara, Tokyo's red light district. Anna plays Kyoha, an oiran, or top-rank geisha.
Japanese people tend to think that oiran have a pretty tragic life. Most of the films about them up until now have been pretty sad. She didn't want to become an oiran, but she thought she might as well become the best. Women these days, especially Japanese women, a lot of them feel that they must be the same as everyone else. But by watching the oiran, they will realize that it's okay to be different.
The film's director, Mika Ninagawa, has photographed Anna in her capacity as a model. She cast the hard-working hyphenate because of what she represents to young Japanese women.
Anna is really popular with girls. She's a girl who really represents our time. Girls who admire girls like Anna want to be stronger and want to stand on their own 2 feet. It's a good thing, I think.
An altogether different Gyaru icon comes from the ultimate bad girl arena, women's wrestling. Female professional wrestling, or Joshi Puroresu, has been around in Japan since just after the war. But what used to be a butch sport for bad birds has now been replaced by titillating exhibitions of sex and slapstick. And the heroic new face of women's wrestling is this lash-tastic Lollapalooza, Mistress Nuling, formerly known as Miss Yinling of Joy Toy, the erotic terrorist. If I have one tiny quibble about her wrestling, it might be that she, well, doesn't actually seem to wrestle. But that's like saying Jesus was a lousy carpenter. Yinling is way more than a wrestler. A Taiwanese-born model, actress and filmmaker, Yinling is a keen and committed political observer who claims that her deeply held beliefs infuse her work with vigour and meaning. For example, in this riveting 3-hour epic, Vaporiki, Yinling playfully deconstructs communist ideology with just a few soldiers, a Soviet tank and a take on Marx and Lenin. That's more like Marx and Les Benin. Or a sexual fantasy concerning a clownish commander, a Japanese imperial flag, and a... oh, good heavens. In real life, Yinling is dead serious about her politics, so if she says her films are political, well, maybe some things are better lost in translation. There are probably more female pop stars in Japan than anywhere else in the world. And as with fashion and dance, Gyaru music rules the land. The majority of pop stars are of the glossy, gorgeous, technically skilled, but not exactly melting your mind variety. And many seem to model themselves on Western counterparts. The 3 reigning queens of J-pop are Namie Amuro, who's been called the Japanese J-Lo, Ayumi Hamasaki, she's the Japanese Madonna, and Kumi Koda, the Christina Aguilera of Japan. But there were also an impressive number of Gyaru making fresh, original and downright toe-tapping new music. Metal Chicks, a blistering duo, are at the forefront of a recent wave of girls making credible indie rock. Yuka Yoshimura on drums and Suga Yoshinaga on guitar have been likened to Sonic Youth on Shochu. One of the newest groups on the scene is a thrashing garage rock trio called The Feminine. Friends since junior high school, drummer Aiba, bassist Shimi and guitarist and lead vocalist Kochi play loud, rough and ready covers of 60s American garage rock.
Originally, we really wanted to make our own songs, but they weren't so great.
What I also like about the feminine is their right-on style sense, clinging vintage frocks, fishnets and bare feet.
I don't think we scare them, but they certainly don't think we're cute girls when we're on stage.
Now, if you're looking for a Gyaru band that combines deft with daffy, yes, trust your initial judgment. These girls are world-class wacky.
What we have in our heads is a device to pick up special messages from outer space, wherever we are.
Known as X-Girl, they've been around since the late 90s, touring the world several times over.
I think X-Girl are more popular abroad than in Japan.
They claim to be from the planet Kero Kero, which is apparently populated by lobster jesters. For your information, Kero Kero is also meant to be the sound that frogs make. Kero Kero. The X-Girl experience includes one-of-a-kind homemade costumes, alien folk dancing, two-dimensional hairdos inspired by the wives of 1960s astronauts, and abundant froggery. Their oddball three-part harmonies nicely service their noisy art punk sound.
But in Japan, we tend to keep away from things that stand out. Weird things such as music that hasn't been heard before.
One of my personal favourites is this cover of a 1979 English new wave disco classic. Well, we've met with the Mambas, we've communed with the Kogals, we've got down with the Gyaru. But what have we learned? Yeah! Ancient Japanese knock-knock joke for you. Knock-knock. Who's there? Gyaru. Gyaru who? Gyaru kappa sugar neighbour? Yes, I do, but unless you put those trousers back on, I'm going to have to call the police. Oya sumanasai. Good night.
Comedy next up on BBC Three in 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps.